You know that feeling after a flare when your labs look a little better, your energy's creeping back, but you still don't feel like you? That's because recovery from an autoimmune flare doesn't stop when the inflammation goes down. It's actually when the real work begins, right? We have to actually put things into practice even after we start to feel better and our labs start to get back to normal. Today, we're talking about how to rebuild your body after a flare, how to restore strength and energy and resilience so you can bounce back better next time. Because with autoimmune disease, remember, there's not a quote unquote cure. If you get yourself back into the same environment and exposures, then those flares can happen and antibodies can start creeping back up. It still happens to me when I'm under a lot of stress. If I don't hone it in, go back to those foundational steps, then that can happen. So what can we do? So drop a note in the comments if you've ever thought, I'm better, but not well yet, right? Because you can get better. There is hope, and it's not because you need to up your meds. So I'm Jen. I'm a culinary coach, a health educator, and someone who's been through the autoimmune roller coaster quite a time or two. If you haven't heard my story, then it is also in the videos, and I share all about my story of fighting with doctors and things like that. So I'm not telling you to fight with your doctor. I'm not telling you not to follow your doctor's directions, but I do want you to know that there are some natural things you can do to improve your health after autoimmune diagnosis. So I know what it's like to come out of a flare feeling drained and fragile and unsure of what's next. Many of you know there was a death recently in my family, and it's been almost a month now, but I still get weepy and I still get down, and I have to remember to shake that stress off, right? Get rid of that emotional energy that can weigh us down. And I'll notice, I'm extra weepy and things like that. And if I overwork myself and don't do quote unquote the things, then I'm really unstable. So I believe in natural healing. I know your body's capable of rebuilding. It just needs the right raw materials, habits, and the right rest to do that. So a flare is like a storm. When it passes, you see clearer skies. I'm feeling a little better, but the landscape underneath has changed. Things inside your body have changed. When we are stressed, when we have excess inflammation, our body burns through nutrients like crazy. You may have heard, if you're under a lot of stress, the adrenals, they burn through vitamin C. They use more vitamin C than our other organs. And so we have to make sure we're replenishing things like that. So we need to replenish magnesium and zinc and selenium and vitamin C and B vitamins. We need extra amino acids to repair tissue damage. If we have flares, things are shooting at that organ, where in my case, I don't know what they're shooting at because I don't have my thyroid anymore. Go back to my story for that one. Antioxidants that protect our cells are also very important. If we don't replenish those, we can be running on empty even after our symptoms have calmed down. But I don't want you to run out and buy a bunch of supplements. I'm definitely not pro supplement unless they're absolutely necessary. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing, and that can happen with a lot of these nutrients. Too much zinc can lead to a copper deficiency, lower your immune resilience, so then it's easier for you to get sick later, and cause digestive issues. So you need zinc, but not too much. Zinc can compete with copper for absorption, and when our copper goes down, that can also weaken our immune balance and energy production. And so no wonder we have depleted energy when we have depleted nutrients, right? And we keep hearing over and over that we need selenium for our thyroid. Next time you have your labs done, ask to get selenium tested. Too much selenium can lead to thyroid symptoms, brittle hair, nail loss, fatigue, and even thyroid dysfunction. So those thyroid symptoms could be from too much selenium. We have to have selenium, but we don't want too much. It's essential for thyroid health, but once you pass your body's sweet spot, it tips into toxicity. So get it checked. I know that was one thing for me. I was supplementing with something that had selenium, and I was eating Brazil nuts and sunflower seeds, and my selenium got too high. And so you want to make sure that you're getting in that sweet spot, get it tested. Eating a high meat diet for amino acids. So I keep hearing this over and over and over. So many people follow the AIP diet or another diet where they're eating a high meat diet. Or they're eating, like I'm 100% whole food plant-based. They're whole food plant-based. They're not eating any meat, but they're overdoing it with protein powders because they hear they need all these amino acids. Well, that can lead to an acidic load. You're already under inflammation. We don't need to add acid to the body. It can also create sluggish detox pathways. It can also lead to kidney stress, and it leads to higher inflammation due to all the byproducts of breaking down and processing those amino acids. Your liver and your kidneys, they have to process any excess nitrogen and acids, and that stresses your detox systems and your mineral balance as well. So I like to focus on whole food sources for all these minerals. Diverse plants, diverse, eating diversity, various different things, seeds, legumes, nuts, and greens, and use supplements only when testing shows that you do need to supplement, and use that as a supplement. Don't just take the supplement, take vitamin C. I don't need to eat vitamin C rich foods because I'm taking the vitamin C. No, we don't know how well your body's processing that vitamin C. If it's a capsule or a cap, is your body even able to break those down for you to use them? We don't know. So go food first and use a supplement as a supplement. Rebuilding is essential for long-term remission. We want you to get into remission and stay in remission for the rest of your life. Now, we live in a real world where we have high stress. One time my flare came back after a tree fell on my car while I was driving. Well, that's high stress. That's major trauma. That's when I went into a flare. So those things, they do happen. So you can be doing all the things, making sure you're sleeping and working on your stress management, eating all these nutrients, but when you have an emergency like that, sometimes they can come back. So we're going to think of this as our nutrient repair plan. So we do need protein, like I talked about. Our cells, our hormones, and our enzymes are all made of amino acids. So we do have to have protein. But we can eat things like lentils, legumes, nuts, and seeds, and lots of greens. And you can get all the amino acids that you need. I have been 100% plant-based for over 8 years. I have to look and see how many years it's been. And my labs show that I get all of the protein that I need without protein powder. It is possible you don't have to have protein powder, but you do need a well-balanced diet. Healthy fats, omega-3s, we need to get that right balance by eating things like hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, even some of your algae like chlorella, spirulina. Those things can help calm inflammation and repair cell membranes. And so we need to eat a lower fat diet, but not too low. And we need to make sure that we're getting those omega-3s. Maybe you take fish oil. Maybe your genetics show you need fish oil because you have trouble converting those fatty acids down. Mine do. So even though I am quote unquote vegan, I don't like to use that word because it's kind of a political word, I do have to take fish oil because even though I eat high flax, high chia, high hemp, my body genetically has trouble converting those down. Now I can help you with your genes. I love looking at nutrigenomics. There are other practitioners out there too. So find someone who can help you with that if you aren't familiar with your genetics. Color, eat the rainbow. That's my number 2 rule. Always eat the rainbow. If you aren't already, focus on one meal a day or throughout the day, making sure you get all the colors. Ideally, you're working up to every meal you eat has all of the colors. That way you know you're getting loads of antioxidants and phytonutrients, polyphenols, things that help with our whole mucosal system, which helps with our immune system and helps calm inflammation. All those colors. Minerals, magnesium, potassium. I didn't even talk about potassium earlier. Selenium and zinc are key for thyroid health and the adrenals, but food first. Hydration, our lymph system and our detox pathways, they need water to carry waste out of the body. If we don't carry the waste out, it gets recycled. It circulates back through the body. And if we're not getting the nutrients to the cells, then we're going to be depleted. We have to have water to carry those nutrients. We need amino acids. We also need water to get those nutrients to all those cells. So every meal we eat, every time you pick up your fork or your spoon, right, we have a chance to rebuild our cells, our energy, and our resilience. When I came out of my first autoimmune flare, I think it was my first, who knows, I was terrified to move. I was afraid to eat too much. I was afraid to do anything that might set me off, right? Because when you, like, sometimes I can't get out of the bed. I just can't get out of bed. Or I have one of my main symptoms, well, it could be droopy eyes, or it could be really heavy legs. And I don't know if it had, let me know in the comments, have you ever had those heavy legs? Like, it's just hard. I remember walking around a college campus and tears running down my eyes because I was like, oh my God, I cannot get my legs up these stairs. And so that can be a sign, right? But what I didn't realize at the time when I was afraid to do anything else was I was still stuck in survival mode. And so we are thinking, I'm afraid. When we think I'm afraid, our body is going, oh, cortisol, we're afraid. We need to protect our body. We need to survive. And so you have to remove those triggers and nourish your body. Once I started focusing on nutrient density, I've kind of always known I should eat the rainbow, but I really didn't know why. And I haven't always had lots of greens. When I did focus on eating, not drinking green smoothies, I'll talk more about that in a minute, eating rainbow salads, cooking cruciferous vegetables, growing my own sprouts, I guess you don't make them, and protein from seeds and lentils, then my energy returned. And once your energy returns, you know, hey, I'm a lot healthier, right? My body got stronger, my nervous system calmed, and my antibodies went down to where they needed to be, right? So we have to remember that remission is resilience. We want to be able to get our body, create those habits so that we can bounce back next time, because emergencies are going to come. There are going to be other things that come. Are you going to be able to handle that without going into a flare? And if you do go into a flare, are you going to be able to do the things to get yourself back to your set point where you're healthy and strong? So let's talk about how we can rebuild on a daily basis, right? So starting your morning nourished. I mentioned green smoothies. Maybe you don't have to have a green smoothie every day. I don't every day, but a lot of people do. And they think, oh, I'm being healthy because I'm having my green drink or my green juice. We want to start our body nourished. So drinking something like a green juice, not an apple juice, not a fruit juice, but a green juice, like a celery juice or something like that. But you can overdo it on that as well. But something with greens and maybe some lemon juice or ginger juice or something. Sometimes that can be a little spicy. Those juices are easily absorbed into our body. We don't have to worry about leaky gut and things like that. It's going to be absorbed into our body. When we eat a smoothie, if I'm drinking a smoothie through a straw, and I've heard, it has all this fiber and it has stuff still in there because the whole fruit and vegetable, whatever is in there. If I'm not chewing, I just skipped a bunch of enzymes that help to break down carbohydrates. And so they're in here, in our mouth, in our cheeks. Like if you think like my mouth is salivating, talking about that is enzymes that help break down foods. And it also helps with satiety. So if you do have a green smoothie, put something on top so that you chew. So you activate those enzymes, you send that signal to your body, hey, I'm eating, so you're not so hungry later. A lot of times people tell me I'll drink my green smoothie and then I'm hungry 2 hours later. Well, guess what? We need to chew. Dr. Christopher always said to drink your solids and chew your liquids. And so even like a green juice or something, he would want you to swish it to activate those enzymes. However, if you do that, you want to make sure you rinse your mouth well with water. Don't just go brush your teeth because it softens the enamel on your teeth. So if I were to do that and then I went and brushed my teeth, I'd be scratching some enamel off. So don't do that. And so that's a little side note. Another thing that's common right now is intermittent fasting. So I wanted to take a pause on that as well. So intermittent fasting overnight may be all you need right now. If your body is under stress and then you wait a long time to eat, you're adding more stress to your body. And so intermittent fasting, 12 hours overnight, 14 hours overnight, that can be really great for you. That means stop eating, 3 hours before you go to bed, maybe waiting an hour before you eat breakfast in the morning, and then eat in that time period. That may be perfect for you right now. Once again, if you wait, that can be adding more adrenal stress and keeping you in the flare, keeping your antibodies elevated, and burning through those nutrients that we're trying to absorb. So don't wait too long. Listen to your body's cues. I am one of those people who cannot fast in the morning, even when I'm strong and resilient. Then, sometimes I can go a little bit longer, but I am one of those people that just really struggles with that. So starting your morning nourished. I have to look at my notes because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have skipped. Keep going on tangents. So eat when you're hungry, but eat foods with a lower glycemic load. So we hear a lot about that. I love Dr. Furman. He talks a lot about glycemic load. Dr. Bernard, he talks about glycemic load. There's several doctors out there that talk about glycemic load. This helps keep your blood sugar stable, helps keep your cortisol calm, so your immune system stays steady as well. So we have to keep the blood sugar stable because when our blood sugar goes up and down, that creates inflammation in the body. And we are already inflamed if we have just gone through a flare. So we have to calm that down. Focus on color and variety. My number 2 rule is eat the rainbow. The more plant diversity you eat, the stronger your microbiome becomes. I just got a stool test back. Maybe you don't want to hear that. Let's talk about stool. But the practitioner who went through it with me said, wow, she'd never seen a microbiome that looked so great. It's because I focus on the rainbow and lots of diversity. So don't just eat the same meal every day. Yes, I have a rainbow meal every day, but I rotate the different kinds of greens. Maybe I use different kinds of seeds in my salad dressing, different rainbow vegetables. Those are key. And then move gently, but consistently. So make exercise a daily habit and don't overdo it. I know I did CrossFit for a while, and then that threw me into a flare. It was too much stress for my body. Now, if you have everything under control, your adrenals have been strengthened, they're nice and strong, your cortisol is back in line, then doing something like that will work for you. But if you're just coming out of a flare, this is not the time. Walking, stretching, qigong, that's my thing, yoga, all of those help to rebuild our mitochondria and helps to move our lymph and helps us to rebuild the energy in our body. Sleep like it's your job. That's when repair happens. Early nights, a dark room. I've been wearing a fleece headband over my eyes. So I kept trying different kinds of eye masks. None of them are comfortable. For me, those fleece headbands that cover your ears, they're nice and soft. I just wear it over my eyes and it's perfect. Blackens out the room. You want a nice dark room. Turn off your electronics a couple hours before you go to bed. Relax. I drink a bedtime tea. There's lots of other things that you can do. But finding ways to sleep is so, so essential. And then reduce your incoming stressors. Emotional stressors, chemical stressors, dietary stressors, finding those food sensitivities. Those can help your body to feel safe when you remove those. And then celebrate progress over perfection. You don't have to be perfect. There are going to be days where things just don't go the way you planned. Celebrate, hey, I'm getting stronger. I'm doing better every day. I'm doing my best, right? So I had lots more I wanted to share about that, but I think that I'm at the end of my time. If you've been stuck between a flare and full recovery, then it's time to rebuild. Your body is ready to regenerate. Your body was created to regenerate. You get to cut your hand heals, right? You have an autoimmune flare, your body knows what it needs to do. You just have to give it what it needs so that it can naturally do that on its own. Give it the nutrients it's missing. Inside the Culinary Healing Circle, this is what I teach. This is what we do. We learn how to rebuild our body through food, through small habits, and we have a wonderful community support. Go to culinaryhealingcircle.com and join us. A flare is a signal for help. It's an invitation to rebuild stronger. It's just saying, hey, I'm here. You need to make a change. When you nourish and rest, instead of pushing through, guilty as charged, your body will respond. Cooking can create change and rebuild, right? And that can also help with creating resilience. Remember, it's what's on the end of your fork or your spoon, right? I can help you with that. Share this with a friend who's ready to rebuild and not just recover. Comment, let me know what you thought about this episode and what else you would like to learn about your autoimmune health. And I will see you next week.